Listen, y'all. I try to be as level-headed about Caitlin Clark in the WNBA, and I'm starting to have a lot of thoughts around why the old guard have a problem with Caitlin. I've seen so many signs of the WNBA starting to get it. Replacing Swoopes with Nancy. Nancy's publicly supporting her. WNBA giving Caitlin her flowers with Player of the Week and Player of the Month, even though Clark is also the first one to say that Kelsey Mitchell, her teammate, deserves it. Players saying more respectful things towards Clark, even if they hate the fact that their home stadiums are filled with Caitlin Clark fans, because they recognize the moment. Analysts feeling comfortable saying that Caitlin Clark is clearly the Rookie of the Year, not denying abject reality because they want a media narrative, or the people in their lives around them or their friends are going to attack them if they say that. However, I feel like the faction that was preying on Caitlin Clark's downfall can't get over it, because the WNBA is not succeeding in the way that they wanted it to. So today, Cindy Brunson, who is the commentator for the Mercury, in a misguided attempt to defend Sheryl Swoopes of all people, shaded Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever staff of all people. And listen, only we can yell at the front office, Cindy. That's our job. As Fever fans, that's our job. Take it somewhere else. But without further ado, take a listen to what Cindy said today. Hey, you, I'm a brand new channel, so if you enjoy my content, please leave a like and subscribe. I'm trying to hit 1,000 subscribers by the end of September, and it's been a blast engaging with all of you in the comments. Your support is greatly appreciated. Now back to it.
The fact that Stephen A is using my sister Sheryl Swoopes for clicks and likes is horrifying. And I implore everybody that can hear my voice to push back on Stephen A and say, why won't you have Sheryl on? Why won't you have Monica McNutt back? Because they called him out. He just doesn't want to face the truth, and he wants to line up in the narrative behind everybody else that Caitlin Clark came down the mountain with tablets in her hand to save the WNBA. Here's a newsflash. The W didn't need saving. It just needed promotion. The product has never been the problem. It has always been the promotion. I'd also like to say, let's press the Indiana organization. If Caitlin isn't going to do the right thing, I think General Manager Lynn Dunn, Head Coach Stephanie White, Christy Sides, other folks in that organization need to push back on the vitriol that is aimed particularly at Black women and LGBTQI plus women that make up the majority of the league.
So I'm going to be honest with my thoughts here. First off, Lynn Dunn and Christy Sides have nothing to do with the discourse. And in fact, I believe Christy Sides has already spoken out against players receiving hate. Caitlin Clark has also spoken out. And I don't know what they have done and what responsibility do they uniquely hold besides the fact that they drafted and coached Caitlin Clark. This point honestly sent me for a loop, and I don't know where it's coming from. I don't know if I missed something from one of them, but the idea that the Indiana Fever staff uniquely should be held to respond to hatred that trolls online are sending when they've already spoken out against any hatred going towards any of the players, which is a totally reasonable stance and I think is valid. And like, I don't know why uniquely they are chosen, and they must speak about this. Now, as someone who has watched the WNBA before and has now returned because of Caitlin Clark, yes, some of the product had flashes, and it's improved, but it wasn't good enough. And it wasn't as good as the product in the stadium just over there. Men play above the rim. They block shots off the glass. They take ridiculous threes. They're more athletic. They're more physical. And if the NBA was still playing fundamental basketball, it would not be making money too. It wouldn't be the exciting package that it is, that you see now. It took players that broke the mold of that over many years to elevate it to what it is now. And for those players to see those players and build on that skill, and also for it to be profitable enough that, you know, I don't know how much talent the WNBA has lost, because there were probably college players that were coming up at whatever, or players that entered the league, you know, the first year. And, you know, they said to themselves, just like, this is a lot of work for not a lot of payoff. And in the off season, I'm either playing overseas or I'm working this part-time job in the off season. It didn't make sense, right? So to say that the product was good before or good enough is disingenuous, right? In that audio, it talks a lot about Caitlin Clark coming down from the mountaintops with the tablets as the savior. And I don't think that the WNBA needed a savior. Listen, investors are going to invest. There's a reason the WNBA has survived this long, even though it hasn't been making money. Part of it's because the NBA is so successful, it can fund it, but investors are going to dump tons of money into something for the hope of the eventual big payoff, which is now here, which is the crazy part. You have what you wanted. And as someone that comes from a background that I love esports, I like huge esports fan. For those that don't know, I used to work for a company called Riot Games, which runs 2 professional leagues, and it's amazing. But esports notoriously costs a lot of money. There's a lot of investment in it, and there's like no daylight still in it, right? And Riot Games is pretty much the only company that is still supporting esports in like sustainable fashion outside of like mobile game companies and that kind of stuff. But there's been tons of leagues that have come and failed. And I think that it's short-sighted to sit there and look at the incubation time that you've been given. And now you finally get what you dreamed about and you're pushing back on it. And so I think it's not that they needed a savior, but they needed the catalyst. They needed a Bird Magic. They needed a Michael Jordan. You have a player that comes into the league. She shoots further back than Steph Curry. So not only is that exciting, but now defense is more exciting, because the things you have to do to stop Caitlin Clark, those don't happen until the playoffs. Those weren't happening until the playoffs. And now in the regular season, you're seeing players try out of their minds, because every game, the amount of attention, the people that are coming to watch Caitlin Clark in the Indiana Fever play, when you're in that game, you're in a finals game. The stadium is packed. Everybody's watching. You have millions of viewers. This is a glimpse of where you want the game to be in the future every night. On top of that, she's an exciting passer. And there have been better passers in the WNBA. Like, check out Tisha Penicheiro. She wasn't just passing behind the back like Caitlin Clark was. She was literally performing like disappearing magic ball tricks, feeding Candace Parker for assists. You know, she was donkey passing underneath her legs. Like, just go do yourself a favor, pause this video. It'll hurt me on the algorithm, but I don't care. Pause this video. Go watch some highlight reel of Tisha Penicheiro passing, and you'll get it. Like, there were people that had aspects of Clark's game, you know, maybe not shooting as far. Sabrina, you know, she shoots from far range. She can match Clark. She's actually taken a few like check out this rook in their early matchups, you know. But the point is, Clark is the full package. She's exciting. She talks trash to everyone on the court, including the refs. But off the court, she's the greatest ambassador you could have ever hoped for. And she only speaks glowingly about the players that came before. Like Sheryl Swoopes. Like Maya Moore. Her own teammates. But it's not enough. And, you know, as much as I don't care about Stephen A, you know, guys doing a million shows a day, but you shouldn't gatekeep and keep back promotion of your sport and where you want it to go because people didn't talk about your sport until now, when the package was so exciting that they couldn't ignore it. When they had to talk about it, when you got more eyeballs in and they bring everybody else in and you kind of start this snowball and you get to where you want to go. You know, are you going, you know, would you yell at people because, you know, oh, now you're covering golf because of Tiger Woods, or now you're covering tennis because of Serena Williams, or now you care about gymnastics because of Simone Biles? No, I don't think any reasonable person who is interested in the success of their sport would do that. Listen, I don't have the lived experiences of Sheryl or Nancy, but I think there's a time when you need to take a step back. Stop feeding the faceless internet trolls. Get over your pride. Take a look in the mirror and ask yourself, why are you doing this? Because only you have the answer. Thank you all for watching this episode. Let me know your thoughts down below. And subscribe for future updates, because if there's anything I've learned this week, it's that this saga isn't ending anytime soon. Remember, you're going to be amazing today because you are amazing. Catch you next episode.